guys, how's it going? Today we have a few projects to work on. We're starting here in front of the chicken coop. We are going to be planting the container that's sitting there at the corner. I did have some things in it for summer, but they were looking so tired. And now that it has cooled off, I feel like we can start in with the fall things. We're going to also pop a few things in this flower bed while we're here. When we're done with this, we're going to head out. I've got more potatoes to dig, and then I would like to get some corn cut and bundled up and brought up forward to a couple of our doorways. That's my hope for today anyway. Now, this chicken coop area has been a bit of a struggle this year. There are some pretty things though. I'm thankful for the color that's here, like the Supertunia Tiara Blue. This is a new one for next year. And look at how gorgeous that is. It looks beautiful with the Supertunia Bordeaux. We've got some of the apple blossom geraniums, which need to be deadheaded, don't have a whole lot of color right at the moment. And then we have Violet Night Lobularia or Alyssum. We've also got the Tiara Blue in the window box, and it's so gorgeous. I need to do a little spot painting right there, but usually you can't see it because of the daylilies. But the spider mites just ravaged this area. This was one of the toughest areas for spider mites, also for water. I don't know how long the drip tube has been in this flower bed, but it's been a number of years. So I should have thought at the beginning of the season when I planted things in here, like, well, you should probably look at the drip. Run it, see where the saturation is, see if it's covering it good enough for the season, and because it's not. We've had to supplement water with a hose almost every single day throughout the heat of the summer. We typically don't have to do that, so we've lost plants here and there just because of kind of that inconsistency. Drip irrigation is awesome when it works, not awesome when it's not working well. However, our evergreen, our roses, our buddleia, everything in here that had spider mites so bad, they're looking pretty good. So all in all, it's okay. But look what we've got here to plant. Douglas, when did you get up in here? Up in these gorgeous hydrangeas. These are the Invincible Ruby. They grow about 3 to 4 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. And I thought it would be beautiful. I've got 2 of them here, and I've got some more sitting right over there. If we have time, we might pop a few out in the south garden today as well. I thought it would be really beautiful to pop one of these in the container as a centerpiece, and then one of them I kind of want to tuck in right here. The grass here is an annual, but I do like that texture here. So if we did something like that every year in this spot, or found a perennial grass that kind of matched the size of this one, it would be awesome to have a hydrangea tucked in right here that we could depend on every year to kind of fill in this space. The daylilies here were so covered in mites that we cut them all the way back down to the ground. I think even before they started to bloom. They had bloom stalks earlier on this summer. We didn't even really see color from them. Had to take them all the way down just to get rid of the spider mites. So I don't know if it's a great plant to have right here, but usually they're big and full and you don't see the bottom piece of wood there that needs some paint, which, you know, maybe we should do that today too. Just tidy it up. Anyway, these are a zone 3 through 8. They're an arborescens or smooth type hydrangea, which means they're easy to take care of. They bloom on new wood. So the branches that they bloom on, they produce within that same season instead of, you know, setting buds on their wood and blooming the next season on that wood. So they're very easy to prune. I usually take after mine just a little bit sometime in the spring. You can wait until they start pushing buds so that you can cut each branch down to a really strong set of buds, or you can just go in and kind of clean them up a little bit. Usually they say to take them down by about 1/3 just to create that really nice strong base at the bottom of the plant. But these are just so gorgeous. The color is beautiful, and I want more pink up here. I think that that's the thing that I lack in this space. Because in terms of perennial or shrubs, I've got a peachy keen rose, their apricot color, a Miss Violet buddleia, purple. We do have the Zephrine climbing rose, which blooms pink, but you know, it doesn't bloom a lot of the year. And then we've got the daylilies, which are soft yellow. So these will fit in beautifully. And then to go with that, we've got the Delta Neon, I think that's what they're called. Oh, Delta Premium Neon Violet Pansies. We've got the Nagoya Red Kale right here, and these will broaden out, especially because we've got some heat a little bit still. If it was really cold, they'd probably stay real small, but they'll put on some growth. And we've also got some lemon coral. I just think this is a beautiful, fresh blend that will take us through fall and probably a good portion of winter. And that's the wonderful thing about hydrangeas. Like, yes, they will lose their leaves as like a container specimen, but you will still have the bloom interest in the container, or you can pop it out and plant it in the landscape, which is where mine will eventually end up anyway. So we do have soil in that container. I'm going to grab some fertilizer and some extra soil and we can get after it. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Like, does this drip work? There's a little bit of moisture in here. I'm gonna test that and then also get the drip set up to the pot before we plant it as well. Okay, so we have tested the water. I'm gonna test it one more time before I pop this black drip tubing in. And this drip tubing has holes every 9 inches as opposed to every 6 inches like the brown drip tubing. This is what we had on hand. So anyway, I asked Aaron to turn it on for 10 more minutes just to double check. And then we'll test how this is dripping before we plant. Oh, I hear water. Takes a minute to fill up. So we just have this drip tube going out through the bottom of this container and it pops into the brown drip tubing that feeds all the plants in this bed. And since we've been having such problems with it this year, the pressure when we initially tested it was not that great. So I used a lot of this. Hopefully that'll work. Nothing. All right, it looks like every emitter is dripping at this point. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes on this one. I don't know if the connection is weak down below or if it's just not enough pressure to get it going a little bit quicker. But as long as the zone runs long enough, which this one does every other day, it should be plenty of water. Now we can add our soil and fertilizer just to top it up. Actually, I don't know if we're gonna need to add that much soil. It's a pretty big root ball. It's a 3-gallon hydrangea. Oh, look at how absolutely gorgeous this plant is. It is so big. I love it. The root ball looks really good. I don't need to fluff it at all. It's heavy because I've already watered it today. Put a little more soil at the bottom. Charged up that soil with some biotone. Oh, look at that. We are going to need to top up with a little bit of soil around the root ball. And this soil that was in this container was from this summer. Typically in the fall, I don't do a soil swap unless the soil has been especially taxed by roots or if I've had an insect problem. We did actually have any insects in this container. I don't know how we managed that with everything going on, but if you've got affected soil, it can harbor over insect eggs, so it's better to start with fresh, but fall plants don't need as much nutrients as summer plants do. Okay, let's get this drip and get it fed around this plant. Easier at this stage than when there's plants all the way around the hydrangea. Okay, things are looking good. So now I typically like to just set my containers in here and just kind of move things around however I like it. That way we don't have to pull anything out, hopefully, to rearrange. I'll go grab the kale. Look at how gorgeous this is. The little annual plants are not in the soil yet, but I'm just so thrilled by how fresh and beautiful this looks. Oh my word. Oh my goodness, I love this so much. Look at how gorgeous that mix is. This is what I'm talking about. Adding more pink to this area, I think, is where it's at. And having that really fresh pop of chartreuse with the lemon coral. And even though this one is an annual in our area, it will last deep into fall. And then, like I said, the leaves on this one, they'll turn yellow, so we'll get a nice yellow fall show. The leaves will drop, and then we'll have some blooms still left for interest. And usually our kale and pansies last through the winter. Our kale does for sure. Pansies, depending on the severity of the winter, most of the time they'll look kind of puny in the morning, and then by midday they pick back up and look okay again. I do need to tack this drip tubing down a little bit, but looking all the way around, you can see just how beautiful that mix is. So now let's get our hydrangea planted and we'll do a little painting. I can already tell that's pretty from the front, even though I can't see it from the front. Oh, gorgeous. Well, that helped out tremendously, adding that beautiful pink hydrangea and cleaning up that board and painting it. The bottom board looks so much brighter than the rest of the coop. I went in with the same color of white, but of course the rest of the coop is super dirty, and that is brand new, fresh and clean, but that bottom board will match the rest of it in no time. I did scrape off all the loose paint and we went in with a couple of coats on that bottom board, and I had a thought while I was planting, maybe we can dig and move these 3 roses in favor of a few more of these hydrangeas. I think that would be a fun change. These roses have been here for quite a number of years, and they have struggled the last 2 years, especially as you get closer to this side. I think because this area is just getting a little bit more shade, I think these will be so much more productive out in a spot where they can get just a ton of sun. The hydrangeas here will actually benefit from a little bit of protection in the afternoon. But these, the Peachy Keen, it used to be a variety in the Proven Winners line that is not anymore, because, you know, as they find varieties and create varieties that are more productive, they drop the ones that aren't quite as. This one comes out in like late May, early June with that beautiful flush of apricot peach blooms. And then it just throws out a sporadic bloom here and there throughout the rest of the season. And I don't really even notice it, especially too because it doesn't get enough sun now. They don't do even like a second flush that's really thick. So I think that would be a fun change. That way the hydrangeas can be in here, and once they start to bloom, they just look awesome all season. You don't have to deadhead them. They will benefit from the protection, and I think having that pink in here would be so nice. So we may not get to the rest of our projects today, I am not sure, but we're gonna dig those roses instead. We're gonna put these hydrangeas in, and then we'll go relocate the roses somewhere else. Oh my goodness, got all the roses dug up. First one came up fairly normal, soil felt good. Second 2, I got my shovel in the ground, started to pry, and it made that wet suction noise. I thought, what in the world? And this is what we found. Sopping, wet, muddy soil in both of these holes. So I asked Aaron to run another test like just a couple minute test run on the drip zone in this area, and we ended up finding a huge hole in the drip tube right along the front of this grass right here. So it was just been running in this area into these holes, but it hasn't run over to this area, or didn't run enough to make it this far. A number of different things could have happened. I do know we have voles in this area. I have visually seen them. I don't know what our cats are up to out here, but we do have voles and they can cause that kind of damage. The second thing, I could have created that hole when I planted the grass, but the grass has been in here for months. And I think we would have seen evidence of a leak right there, except for the third thing that could have happened is this bed. Bethany came over because I asked her, have you seen any evidence of any extra water in this area? And she said, no, actually for most of the season, she has been hand watering all of the plants in here because the drip was not working. And I think when we tied in the heucherellas, when we just planted that row under the birch tree, Paul did some work on the drip tube, and I think he ended up getting this zone reconnected to an active drip zone. So maybe I did create the hole here and it just wasn't running for enough of the season to know that there was a leak. And so all of a sudden it was getting a lot of water here. Anyway, all of it doesn't matter now because we got the hole fixed. I think I forgot to turn on my camera for that, but it's pretty much like any other drip fix that we've done in recent days, actually. I had to fix 2 in a project we did just a couple of days ago. And we did decide that these roses are going to go home with Bethany so they can go live in her garden and she can enjoy them, and they'll go in a spot that has a ton of sun. Now we can get these in the ground. All right, here's a look at the whole area, and we are mid-afternoon right now. So this is just about the type of sun it's going to get. Like the sun's going to keep going down right here, but there's the ash tree to protect this area. And you can see the amount of sun on this side versus this side. This is much more filtered. So it will be interesting to see the difference between like growth and productivity between these and like that one right there. The one in the container will not stay in there forever. That one will go out in the landscape. So anyway, I am just so thrilled. Now I'm not going to plant anything down here yet because the summer annuals still look really pretty. And if I was to go in with like purple pansies right now, which would be so gorgeous, that's all that would be left once these annuals die back. And I'd have to save some, and who knows how long that's going to be. Sometimes these annuals will last through November. But look at how gorgeous these hydrangeas are in here. I think this was a good move just to freshen up the area and to put something in here that will, 1, provide pink, and 2, provide color that does not have to be deadheaded through the season. I'm gonna love that. We also do have a lemon jade sedum in a container right here. A really fun change. Well, that project definitely snowballed into something I wasn't really anticipating. I'm super happy with the changes, but with the addition of the painting and the planting and the repairing, I think that leaves us time to go harvest potatoes. I don't think we're gonna get to the corn yet. It's still green right now. It hasn't even really started to yellow. So maybe we can wait on the corn stalk bundles a little while yet. Anyway, here we are at the potato area. We've got red Pontiacs that are ready to dig. German butterballs still have a lot of green on them. They are starting to die back a little bit, but my goal is just to really get the one variety done. It's been so nice how we've been doing this. We got the Huckleberry Golds harvested before. That feels like it's been a few weeks ago. And now we'll do the Pontiacs, and then another day we'll do the butterballs, which worked out perfectly because we tackled one of the items on Benjamin's fall activity to-do list, which was to learn how to bake a pumpkin pie. So the kids and I did that last night. We decided to take a break this afternoon, take it down to the garden center and share it with my parents and Monica, which was so nice. So anyway, we wouldn't have enough time to dig all of these up anyway. So let's get the Pontiacs all dug up. So to do that, we're gonna be using the digging fork here. I've got my crates. That's pretty much all there is to it. Okay, just out of curiosity, let's check out the first one here. Oh, so much foliage. Oh, I can see one right there already. Oh my word. Okay, there's one. Oh, there's a big one right there. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. What in the world kind of monstrosity is this? I don't think I've ever grown a potato this big. My goodness. Holy, we're still on our first plant. Oh, something's been eaten on that one. I did suspect a gopher mound in here. Potato plant number 1. My goodness. It's a good one. All right, we got all of the red Pontiacs dug up. You can see just beyond the volunteer sunflowers, which are just about the most glorious ones out here, that we've cleaned up that whole section. And yeah, we have one more variety left. We'll give it a little more time. And here are all the potatoes. My goodness. I was absolutely amazed by the sheer amount, one, of the potatoes and the size. Like, I only need 2 of these potatoes to make mashed potatoes for my family. And that's probably even too much. My goodness. This was the biggest one, I think, of the whole day right here, though. That is a massive potato. We usually have pretty good luck growing potatoes here and onions, and we get some good size on them every year, but I'm not sure that I've actually ever had one this big. I think this might be my record. So that's kind of fun. The only thing we do in terms of fertilizing potatoes is in the prep, the soil prep. So we do the biotone starter fertilizer, and then typically we come in with a layer of land and sea compost, and that's all they get, other than consistent water. So they are on the drip tape here, and this quadrant I think gets a little bit of water every day. Through the heat of the summer, we've already backed off on watering at this point of the year because the nights are so cool and the days are cooler as well. But now we'll let these sit out in the barn to dry. You know, all of the excess soil that's stuck to them, we want all of that to dry because we don't want that to go into storage or any wet spots on the potatoes. That'll give the skin a chance to cure as well, because when they first come out, especially on some of these smaller potatoes, if you take your thumb, see that? You can rough up that skin really easy, and you've got to give the skin a chance to dry and cure before they go into storage. I mean, you can eat them right away as well, so you can start eating off of them immediately, but for storage, you get the best life out of them if you let them sit for, I don't know, a week, 10 days or so. And then we take a soft brush off all the excess soil, and then they go into burlap bags inside of a basket in our root cellar. So all of those things are breathable. You know, there's holes in the burlap sack, but the sacks keep the light off the potatoes, and that's really important to keep them in the dark and keep them in a place that's breathable. There's a lot of air ventilation, and to keep them somewhere cool. And we usually keep our root cellar right around, it kind of fluctuates a little bit. I haven't quite figured out that system yet. Like, I can't dial it into an exact degree I want it to stay on, and maybe I can't, I don't know. It usually stays within a range, like 38 to 45 is typically where I see it. And that keeps all of our stuff for quite a long time. So you guys, that is going to be it for today's projects. So happy with the chicken coop area. And I was looking at those annuals thinking they are pretty, but I wonder if I should just, like, we're getting to that point of the year, if we want to fill it in with fall annuals, I might just need to pull the summer ones, and then we can really pack it out and make it look really nice and tidy and full and beautiful again. I'm just excited about the change up there. That just makes me happy to see a little bit of change up in the plants. You know, as things aren't performing as well, or if you're not liking them as well, just take them out. Usually you can find a home for them. I don't have any trouble finding homes for my plants, whether it's Bethany or another friend or a family member or something like that. I usually can always relocate my plants so that I don't feel bad about digging them out, because I still do have kind of that guilt because they have been in the garden bed, you know, performing decently, really well at first, and then just decent since they didn't get as much light. Anyway, it's fun to have something in there that's different and fresh and a different color. I think I'll really enjoy that. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.